The energy in the studio was electric. Lights dimmed, music rolled, and the crowd roared in anticipation. It was supposed to be a regular night of celebrity banter and laughs on late-night TV. Jimmy Kimmel Live was featuring one of Hollywood's geeky, biggest stars, Dwayne Johnson, a household name known for his charm, humor, and unmatched work ethic. As the cameras prepared to roll, something was already off. Crew members backstage exchanged worried glances. Tension hung in the air like a thundercloud waiting to burst. Dwayne had arrived with a colder than usual demeanor. He walked past the hallway monitors, barely nodding at anyone. One production assistant whispered, "He's not in a good mood tonight." Another replied, "I've never seen him like this." Inside his dressing room, muffled voices could be heard escalating. Johnson's tone was firm, even edged. "We agreed on a specific format. This is not what we signed up for." His publicist tried calming him down, but it was clear something was wrong and he wasn't about to let it slide. Moments later, the crowd erupted in applause as Jimmy introduced the star of the evening. Dwayne stepped onto the stage with his trademark confident stride, smiling, but not quite convincingly. He greeted the host with a strong handshake and took his seat. Jimmy opened with a cheerful welcome. "It's always great to see you, Dwayne." Dwayne nodded, voice steady. "Appreciate being here, Jimmy. Though tonight's got some surprises." Jimmy laughed awkwardly. "You mean the movie twist or something else?" Dwayne's eyes locked onto his. "Let's just say, not all surprises are good ones." The mood began to shift. Jimmy, attempting to steer the ship, brought up the film. "Your new movie looks intense. The stunts are crazy. Did you do most of them yourself again?" But Dwayne wasn't taking the bait. He leaned forward. "You know what's really intense, coming on a show where agreements are tossed out the window?" Jimmy paused, unsure whether this was a bit or something more serious. "We were promised a certain promotional setup," Dwayne continued. "Instead, segments were changed, clips were switched, and no one gave us a heads up." Jimmy tried to calm the situation. "We followed everything your team sent over. I don't know what might have—" "That's the thing," Dwayne interrupted. "Either there's miscommunication or someone's being dishonest," the audience murmured. The vibe in the room shifted from excited to uneasy. Crew members behind the camera started whispering. One finger hovered over the commercial cut button. Jimmy tried to laugh it off. "I think someone skipped leg day and brought the attitude instead." The joke bombed. Dwayne didn't crack a smile. "This isn't about jokes," he said. "It's about respect. And lately your team's been short on that." Now fully aware this was no act, Jimmy's face hardened. "We've always treated you and your team with respect. If something went wrong, let's figure it out. Off camera." Dwayne's voice rose. "That's the problem. Off camera doesn't solve anything anymore. Accountability needs the spotlight too." Gasps and uneasy shuffles echoed through the audience. Guillermo, Jimmy's lovable sidekick, stood frozen at stage left. Even he wasn't sure what was real anymore. Jimmy looked to his producers, who were gesturing for a break. "Let's take 5. "No," Dwayne snapped. "Let's finish this here. People should see what really happens when the cameras are rolling." Jimmy, trying to keep it together, said, "Look, if someone messed with your material, I'll take responsibility. But I've seen the clip cue myself. It's what we agreed on." "Then someone's lying to you," Dwayne said, his tone tense. "Because backstage I was shown a completely different lineup. My name's being used to push a segment I never approved." Jimmy grabbed a folder from his desk, flipping through it. "These are the questions your publicist signed off on." Dwayne leaned in. "Let me see." He examined the paper closely. His expression shifted. "That's not my publicist's signature, and that's not even her email." Jimmy froze. "You're saying this was forged?" Dwayne's voice lowered. "Someone inside this operation wanted this to happen. This wasn't a slip-up. It was sabotage." Silence overtook the room. The crowd, now captivated, watched as tension turned to mystery. Jimmy quickly scanned the email. "The domain is almost identical, but it's off by one letter. This is fake." Dwayne pointed to a timestamp. "This was sent during our meeting with the network last week. My publicist was with me. There's no way this came from her." A new energy surged through the room. The narrative was shifting from confrontation to conspiracy. "We've been set up," Jimmy said quietly. "But why?" Dwayne stood, pacing slowly. "Someone benefits from drama between us, someone who wants headlines, viral clips, or worse, damaging both our reputations." Jimmy turned to the audience. "You're witnessing something very real. We don't know the full story yet, but someone behind the scenes engineered this." Behind the cameras, chaos broke loose. Producers shouted into headsets. Studio security began moving toward the production booth. A young assistant ran on stage holding a tablet. "Jimmy, Dwayne, you need to see this." The screen showed a social media clip, edited to make Dwayne look irrational and Jimmy dismissive. It had already been posted, shared, and was trending. Dwayne looked at Jimmy. "This was prepped ahead of time." "They were ready. We're live," Jimmy said. "But let's not give them what they want. Let's turn this around," Dwayne whispered. "Play along. Follow my lead." Suddenly, his demeanor changed again. Angry, accusatory. "You expect me to believe this was an accident? I don't buy it." Jimmy matched his tone. "Now wait a minute, don't blame this on me." The studio watched in shock as the confrontation escalated. Dwayne shouted, "You should check your producers. Phone, right now." Jimmy hesitated, then pulled out his phone. A message popped up from an unknown contact. As he read it, his face drained of color. "Oh my God," Jimmy muttered. "Check the bank logs, offshore account, foreign IP address. This is bigger than we thought." Guillermo moved forward, whispering, "Do we cut the feed?" Jimmy shook his head. "No, the truth's already out. Let them see everything." Dwayne faced the camera. "The person responsible is in this building right now, feeding content to your competition, orchestrating all of this." Security moved toward the booth as Jimmy shouted, "Cut the broadcast. Not for cover-up, because this now becomes a legal matter." The screen faded to black. What followed would dominate headlines for days. Investigations were launched. A senior producer was suspended pending inquiry. The fake emails, false signatures, and pre-edited viral footage were traced back to a rival media group, intent on damaging both reputations for market share. But in the midst of chaos, something unexpected happened. Jimmy and Dwayne, once adversaries, in front of the camera, became unlikely allies behind it. They would appear together days later, this time in full unity, addressing the incident in a joint statement. "We've both built careers on authenticity," Dwayne said, "and this proved how important it is to fight for that." Jimmy added, "This wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was an attempt to manipulate the media, and we're not letting that stand." The fallout led to tighter media security, changes in show policy, and a renewed push for transparency in late-night television. And though the night began with a confrontation that shocked millions, it ended with something more powerful than scripted entertainment, a raw, unfiltered moment of truth.